Tibbs is gone.
Take note.
Big Beach. We're here.
My man, Alan,
It's different this time.
What's up, guys? We were planning to do a nice little season wrap-up today, talk about everything that happened in the playoffs, but then we got some breaking news. Tom Thibodeau is out as New York Knicks head coach after the exit meetings, the famous exit meetings, going back to Kristaps Porzingis how many years ago, always causing something for the Knicks. But the Knicks are moving on from essentially their third best coach of all time. Red Holzman, Jeff Van Gundy, Tom Thibodeau, if you're looking at longevity, winning, the stats back it up. But it was time.
Well, I would say the New York Knicks certainly know how to stay in the headlines.
That's a fact.
Because, like you said, we were planning to do a little wrap-up show, and then bang, we get this news, and it's like the biggest news in sports right now.
It's like the finals aren't happening.
Like, wow. This is literally taken over, like, everything. I would love to know. I know how Shams, is the one that gets a lot of the inside information. I would love to know how and when he got the information. And when I say how, meaning, like, who actually is the person that, like, calls him to say, hey, this is what's going on. What I heard was that Leon Rose personally, face-to-face, fired him. Now, it's my belief that there's no way that this kind of just happened. Even like with this last series with the Pacers, didn't just happen. This had to have been something in the works for some time. Even if it was a short time, even if it was the last couple of months, there's no way that as an organization that has done so well in the last few years and made so many really good strategical moves, that this was just a kind of off-the-whim decision. So I am so interested to be that fly on the wall to know all the other little intricacies of things that happened. Number one, Jalen Brunson and Rick Brunson, who love Tom Thibodeau. Rick is his assistant.
I don't know what's going on with Rick.
Rick is Tom Thibodeau's assistant coach.
Slick Rick.
Jalen obviously grew up with Tom Thibodeau and really likes him a lot. And Jalen is like the face of the team. So I want to know behind the scenes, do they have any kind of conversation with him?
Well, Ian Begley, I will say this, interrupt here. Ian Begley can offer some light on this. He said the exit meetings were a little bit differently structured. It was a lot of top players talking to Leon Rose, and Dolan was present as well. So it seems like
they might have got the information right all at the same time.
Yeah, they were talking like one-on-one about things. And I will say this, Mikal Bridges multiple times in the season alluded to certain issues without being, Mikal's not going to come here and blow things up, right? But he alluded to certain issues. That's Tibbs calling you. He's trying to get on the line. No. So he alluded to certain issues with regarding, how the team was set up, maybe the minutes, the bench, the way we were playing, little things, right? He did there was some stuff. Little things, so talking about, the top players, we don't know how Cat felt under Tibbs.
Right.
Cat and Tibbs, somebody said Cat got Tibbs fired twice because this kind of happened back in Minnesota. I don't really think it's that serious. I think
I don't think so.
What I really think above all is that, and you talk about it being in the works, people forget, like 2 years ago, we were so close to firing Tibbs. There was like, it wasn't like 9-game losing streak, but it was a bad period.
But then they signed this extension. So we were like,
no, but this is way before then. This is December. I never forget. This is December, I think. This is December before we traded for OG. Was it a couple of years ago? But I remember Tibbs was literally on the last game. He's about to get fired in December. We won the game, made a big turnaround, and things changed after that. It might have been right before the Josh Hart trade. So a couple of years ago, right? So this has been in the works. We backed Tibbs as much as we could. I will say this. It feels weird, obviously, firing him after 25 years, Eastern Conference, furthest we've gotten, blah, 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 blah. However, I think the best things in life are done a little bit too soon.
Ooh.
Right? It's a little bit too soon. It's like when a player retires at 31 and not 35 when they're broken down. Right? And I feel like while I was totally fine with another year of Tibbs to see where it went, I think the Knicks saved a year of potentially running into the same problems because for all that Tibbs did, and this guy, listen, he changed the franchise. He's brought seriousness.
He absolutely changed.
He
the
deserves
franchise.
full credit,
Yes.
and I don't want to. This should not be any kind of piling on Tibbs. In a way, I'm happy that his legacy kind of leaves in a positive
On a
note,
big positive note.
as opposed to like another, it getting really bad.
I bet he doesn't think that.
I know. I mean,
now, granted, he's
Yeah.
getting 30 million.
well, we'll
right?
see how that's going to work out. They've been trying to
And-
keep him in the front office.
So that's what I was going to
Yeah.
ask. He's fired from this position, but maybe we might see him pop up in the front office
We'll
somewhere.
see.
Or
We'll see.
I mean, he can't get demoted to assistant coach because you can't.
No,
be being
that's
head
not
coach
even a
to
thing. You can't bring in
assistant,
a coach and have him feel like someone's looking over his back, right?
Right.
But what I will
right.
say is that 3 years in a row in the playoffs, as much as these playoff runs have been amazing, exciting, fun, Knick basketball like we haven't seen in decades.
Right.
We lose to the Heat in 2023 after we beat the Cavs in 5 games in round 1.
Mm-hmm.
We play the Miracle Heat, who were the 8th seed. And yes, the Heat went to the finals, but I'm sorry we should have won that series. I remember we went into game 1. Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin, Kevin Love are killing us from deep. We're not defending the 3-point line, which we've never done under THIBS. And I'm looking at the team, and you and me felt like, damn, we should have won that series.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, we're up 2-1 Indiana. I know the team fell apart. I know
We
know
were
what
injured.
happened.
Right.
But man, we felt like we should have won that series. And then this series again. Listen, Indy did their thing. That's a good team. We know that. You could argue 3 years in a row, we lost the series we should have won. And I'll leave you with this.
Okay.
All 3 series, I fully felt we got outcoached. It's not that Spoelstra,
Okay.
Carlisle.
I have to.
I felt like we got outcoached. And I think they're looking at
100% agree with that.
I think they're looking at the team.
Right.
They're seeing what they put together. Obviously, it's a very talented team. There's 7 players on this roster that are like legit, serious playoff level NBA players, right? You got the starting 5, you got Deuce and Mitch. All of these guys can play for all the teams in the NBA. None of these guys would stand out anywhere. In fact, some of them, I think Juice was on another team. People will be talking about him even higher. So I'm looking at the team. They're looking at the guys. These are 7 guys who can really do it. The starting lineup's incredible on paper, and there's issues with the defense. I know there's things to do. But they're looking at it like, is Tibbs maximizing this group of guys?
Right.
And I think, let's see what happens. We'll talk about all this other stuff. I know you got some stuff to talk about. But Mikal Bridges and Kat, I think, are 2 of the issues here where Mikal Bridges had an up and down year, showed some stuff in the playoffs. This is not the Mikal Bridges that we thought we were getting. Right?
So let me ask you this about those players. Do you believe that we are a championship team
Yes.
with the players as we are currently constructed?
Well,
And so with all the players that we have right now, do you believe that they're all championship caliber if they had the right coach that then they can get there?
we need more depth. I'll say this. I'm willing to see, because my biggest thing with and again, it feels, I'm not ragging on Tibbs like this. Tibbs did so much for us. Really thought he'd have another year here. Right? You could argue he earned it. Beat Boston. But I feel like, I'll say, and I'll talk about Leon Rose a bit at the end. Do we have a team right now? Maybe, maybe not. But my thing is this. For years, we don't defend the 3-point line.
Right.
And our offense has not been as dynamic as it needs to be. And I'm all I can say is, and yes, Jalen Brunson's done a great job being this god, this ISO god doing. But again, you look at the playoffs. Cat's putting up a big performance. Jalen's putting on a big performance. But we're watching other teams, and I'm not gonna expect us to become the Thunder or the Pacers with quick zip passing everywhere.
Right.
But it does feel like the team hit a bit of a ceiling in terms of how they thought about the game tactically.
So I mentioned to you during the playoffs,
Yeah.
I was like, because I do think that our roster is actually there.
It's right there.
The roster to me is, these kind of are the guys. I don't actually think we need somebody else, even though certain players disappointed me during the playoffs. I do think it is the coaching. And one of the things I said to you during the season was that I would love to see what Rick Carlisle would do with our team. And I say that because I'm looking at Obi, right? I'm looking at Obi Toppin, and you have to know when to use players, how to use them, for how long, and when they're most effective to play in the game. And to me, Rick Carlisle did that with Obi Toppin, and obviously the rest of the team.
No, but
as well.
it's a great point. Yeah.
So
you remember Obi and Tibbs had a falling out, and Obi was
Yeah,
cussing at Tibbs in the locker room.
Yes, I do.
Right
remember
before
that.
he got
I do
traded for
remember that.
2 second-round picks.
I do remember that. I want to say this: Leon Rose and Dolan have said that one of the reasons for firing Tibbs is that they are singularly focused on winning a championship for the fans, and they want to do it now. They are not looking at 4 years down the line. I mean, in a way, they're kind of right, because look at the age of the guys right now. The age of all of the guys on the team right now.
This is it.
Is the optimal age for them to play their best, give us their best, and to win a championship.
Yep.
So I think that they saw, not that they didn't know this, but they saw what was happening in the city during these playoffs, and I think they kind of felt like it's right there. It's like game one.
Yeah.
It's right there, and we need to take this team, this currently constructed team, to the end. Having said that, do you think there are any other players in the team right now that are on the 86 list?
Ooh, that's a whole different video.
Yeah. Do you think there's any other players on the 86 list? Because you started at the top, right? THIBS is gone. So now other players now like, oh shit, that means that I could leave. I could be fired as well.
I'm gonna get to that right now. I gotta say this on what you said about
happen.
singularly focus on winning a championship.
Yep.
This is my kind of exactly how I feel about the whole THIBS thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's just throw it back for a second. Toronto fired their coach, hired Nick Nurse, won a championship.
Mm-hmm.
Golden State fired Mark Jackson,
Yep.
hired Steve Kerr, won a championship, right? It's not unheard of to have a coach. We said this, and we have the tape. If we go back, we said this for years. THIBS might be the guy that gets us as far as we can go, and he needs to drag us out the mud, but he may not be the guy. We said it so many times.
So that's the only thing. Yeah. Yes, we have said that many, many, many times. And again, it's not actually you're 100% right. We never said that as a bad thing on THIBS. We were like, listen, certain people can get you to a certain point, and then you need someone to take you to like the next level. And I do believe. Listen, we've spoken about it. THIBS is stuck in his ways. He's an older, kind of stubborn coach. He plays his players a lot of minutes, which we can find the positives in that as well somehow. And he doesn't play deep. So we know those are all factors that were kind of bothering us. And he did do his job, and his job was to get us where we are now. And I think we do need a different coach to take us to the next level. Now, that different coach...
Wait, let me say this about Leon before we get there, because I want to talk about the different coach potentially. There's a couple options, obviously. For Leon Rose, and this is why I can back this decision as much as, I feel bad for THIBS.
Good friends with THIBS.
And good friends with Thibodeau too. So that wasn't an easy conversation, nor was it a rash decision, right? To your point. This is where I'm at with this. I mentioned a little bit before about doing the best things in life I've done a little bit early, right? Last year, Leon Rose puts together the Villanova crew.
Right.
And says, Kat and DiVincenzo, you're gone. Right? Couldn't agree. Not Kat. Randall and DiVincenzo, you're gone. Couldn't agree.
Is that
I'm not even there yet. I'm not even there. But real talk. He basically says that. Gets, they didn't agree with deal with Randall extension. So they made the pivot, got Kat. Which people were shocked by. After DiVincenzo being fan favorite, part of the city, etc. Right? This year he gets with the THIBS. What I will say is this era, we don't know how it's going to end, but I can have peace with myself and my peace with the Knicks and peace with Leon Rose and peace with this era if I know they left no stone unturned. I'll tell you this. They run THIBS back out next year.
Right.
And we get to the Eastern Finals.
Right.
And now you feel he got out coached again.
Right.
Let's just say it got to that.
Right,
he gets to the NBA Finals. And you just feel, man, we're right there. But you can just feel you're getting out coached.
So I got a caveat for you.
No, this is my thing. If you feel you're getting out coached, I feel like we got out coached 3 years in a row.
I do.
Right?
I do.
I was willing to give it a fourth. But the truth is, even when we were giving him the next year,
you were like,
we were all hoping, okay, he learned a little bit. He saw the bench. Maybe he'll use them. We're still doing this maybe thing.
Right.
Right? Maybe we'll defend the 3-point line better next year. And I feel like, for me, I'm like, I would rather, you know what? I feel like we gave THIBS a lot of time. 5 years, obviously 3 years, etc. 3 years, especially in the playoffs back to back.
But only 1 year with this current team.
True, but still, I'm like, at this point, if they get in a new coach, I hate to say this, even if it's worse, I'm happy we took the risk. Because I don't know if this team would have won. And I want to win.
Okay,
That's how I feel. I want to win, and I don't know, man. I keep going back. I don't know if this team would have won.
So whoever we get as our new coach.
Johnny Bryant!
I will say this. That new coach coming in is going to have a lot of pressure.
A
lot of pressure, because we are going to expect our regular season to be way over 500.
Oh, 500? No.
I said no, way over.
I think they'll be expecting 55, 60 wins.
We are going to be expecting to definitely get to the finals. And so what happens if we get this new coach and the players don't gel with him as well? What happens if they don't like him? What happens if, it's a whole like adjustment period? And so the first year comes and we get to the playoffs and we're out in the first round. How are you going to feel?
I mean, that's a disaster, right? But I'm not going to sit here and think the worst case scenario is going to happen because I'll say this with the roster, right? There was a time, THIBS had to come in. He had to get these guys serious. You saw what we did in the pandemic year, right? Like we needed that kind of just drill sergeant.
Yeah.
Let's get back to serious basketball. The Knicks are a serious franchise. At this point, I'm looking at the 7 guys on the team. Those aren't bad. None of those guys are bad players.
Right.
If they can't get past the first round, that can't be on coaching.
Correct.
They might,
correct.
and again,
correct.
to be honest, if they are so emotionally wrapped up in what happened that by the end of next season they can't get past the first.
Early. That's why they did it. That's why they did it.
Yeah,
now.
let the chips fall where they may.
Here's the thing:
they can't lose in round. I'm sorry, if they lose in round 1, then they were never a serious team.
I know.
They were never a serious team.
So Sham said that that the Knicks, the Knicks organization, do not have another coach in mind. That's BS because this has been being planned for a long time. So there are candidates that I think could be on the well. Who do we want?
A candidate.
Who do we want?
No, it's two guys.
So there are candidates. There are candidates. This is my list. This is my list of candidates. I know some of them may be coaching other teams, but you never know what could happen.
I mean, you offer. I'll just say this: if you offer the Knicks job to someone, you never know. They might be good enough to take it. It's here.
Jeff Van Gundy, Mike Malone, Jeff Van Gundy.
Yo, Jeff Van Gundy twice.
Jason
you
Kidd.
Said
Jeff Van Gundy, Ty Lue. And I want Ume Udoka. And I know he can't come. I know he can't come. I know he's for the Houston Rockets. But I think that he would be the most perfect fit for us here. I think that he's angry. Not angry. You know what I mean? He's tough. I think all the guys would respect him. He's a little bit younger where he's going to be like in tune with everything that's going on. And I
played
think
for the Knicks, by the way, for like a hot second.
Well, look at that. There's always connections.
Look at that.
But I think that he would be, for me personally, I think that he would be
You did not say Johnny Bryant.
So here's the reason I'm not saying Johnny Bryant. He's never had this job before.
How can I fight that?
That's the only reason. Now,
Yeah.
I've liked when we lost Johnny Bryant, I was upset. And I've always wanted him to be back on the staff. And I actually during the season probably even mentioned a couple of times, hey, what about Johnny Bryant?
Cleveland were the number 1 seed with him as an assistant.
Right. So I probably have mentioned his name before, but I don't know what they're going to do. They obviously have done their research. They obviously do have their own little list of candidates of who they want. Who would you like to see come and coach the Knicks? Okay, so
on your Johnny Bryant thing. So Dan Hurley, right? Dan Hurley is the name that we're all talking about. He has that fire college coach. I think he could fit in, but a little bit, he's going to be loud. He's going to be in there, so you don't know how it's going to work. There's this, he's let NBA chances pass him before. Right? So there have been reports that if this happens now, he's not going to let it happen again. Now on Johnny Bryant, he's a finalist for the Phoenix Suns job right now. And this is the timing is curious because it's literally announced yesterday. Johnny Bryant.
There's a little monkey wrench and everything, right?
He's one of the last 2 candidates for Phoenix. Literally yesterday. You saw the list get whittled down to him. I can't remember who's the other guy, but it's Johnny Bryant and someone else, right? The thing is, at this point, the Knicks doing this today before Phoenix could potentially offer Johnny Bryant a job may be all tied in. To your point, right? I don't believe that Leon Rose didn't think of what's next.
Of course they did.
So if they thought about what's next, is the call happening right now? Yo, Johnny, how much come on a fight to New York? We got to talk to you. If they're interviewing and they have a wide net, can Johnny Bryant...
Jordan Ott.
Okay, Jordan Ott. Can Johnny Bryant... Let's say Phoenix offers him a job. This is a real NBA head coaching job. He's like 39, 40.
Right.
Right?
Good age. Good age for him.
So right now, is he going to tell Phoenix, wait, I got to hear from New York? Because that's a risk for him. What if he doesn't win the New York job? Right? But Phoenix is also not a great situation. They're going to rebuild. He doesn't know what that is. To your point about maybe the players not vibing with the new coach, that's why Johnny Bryant works. Can Johnny Bryant be... I don't know if this team needs a drill sergeant anymore. Right. Johnny Bryant's been in with these guys, so there's no one on most of the team has been here a while. I mean, obviously, Mikhail and Kat are new. But they know Johnny Bryant. So there's I don't think there's a worry of necessarily the culture being broken up and this, that, the other. I think Johnny Bryant is just going to come in and fit in. I think when they got him, the whole point was to groom him to potentially maybe be the coach. And now the time is now. So
time is now.
It's a huge risk going from super experienced Thibodeau to Johnny Bryant. But the reason I'm not worried about the risk is I'm just like, this team, to me, they have too many serious players. too many professionals. These guys have families. These aren't idiots doing dumb things where they need to be, rung in like Udoka had to do with the Houston Rockets a little bit.
Right.
I just don't see that here. So I'm like, I don't see this team breaking apart at the seams at this point. And I feel like I can't shake the feeling. And I'll go back to this. Leon Rose is doing what he thinks needs to be done for a championship, and I like that he's being decisive.
Yep.
I like that he's being literally the mafia.
We've liked everything that he's done so far.
Right. The McHale trade, we have to talk a little bit in terms of how much we gave up, but what I like is that he's been decisive. He is trying things, and again, if we leave this era without a championship, as much as I'll be upset, I will have some kind of peace in knowing
They tried everything.
they really did try to shake things up.
I want to say this too, because I wanted to say this before. Communication is something that I think is one of the most important things in like the world. If you look at like communication between countries, between personal relationships, business relationships, communication is where we like lose trust or where you fail, I think. And I wonder how well was the communication in this team with this current team. And I feel like we lost because we weren't communicating. And I mean that on all aspects, meaning how the coach was communicating with them, how the team was communicating amongst themselves. One of the things I remember hearing Mitchell Robinson talking about was everyone, like people, like the team talking to each other. And I felt at a certain point like they weren't talking to each other. Not like they don't like each other, but like talking to each other while they're playing ball. You ever go and you see the guys playing street ball? And they're literally like screaming at each other. Yo, get to that side. Yo, I'm throwing it. Like they're almost like shouting instructions to each other or shouting at each other when they don't do the right thing. And there's some accountability when you do that, but also it's like everyone's engaged.
Yes.
And I did feel like the team in particular in the Pacers series, they were not engaged with each other. They felt almost kind of distant with each other. And a little bit even with the coach. So, listen, these guys are making the decisions that they need to make. It's a business. It's an organization. They want to win. That's what they're telling us.
Yeah, they want to win.
I want to say this is or was Thomas Thibodeau's dream job.
Yeah.
He has said that before. So I do feel somewhat sad for him. But maybe he's ready to take a new stage in his life. Maybe he's ready to get a girlfriend and not eat, drink, and sleep basketball all day long because we know that's what he does. I was thinking, Leon Rose had to go in and do this with Thibodeau today and how that must have been for him. Like, it's always difficult to fire someone.
Yeah.
And to fire someone that you've had longevity with, someone who's like probably a close friend. And you said Dolan was in the room too when he fired him?
I don't know if he was in for the firing, but he was in for some of these meetings. But Leon Rose made the final decision coming from Begley.
Right.
Everything you said, it was tough, but I just can't shake the feeling. You know what? Better too early than too late. Because
better right on time.
Or maybe it's right on time. I'm very interested to see what this offense will look like under a different coach. Yeah. It's been a long time. Even when Derrick Rose was here, he was playing largely the same kind of style as Brunson, right? We're relying on Derrick Rose to do a lot. When Randall was alone, we're relying on him to do a lot. With Brunson, clearly been and again, Jalen's going to be an interesting part of this because he loves Tibbs. He was defending Tibbs literally 2 days ago in the press conference, right? Like, standing by Tibbs, I'm overconfident in this group. This is going to be a shift for him. His dad may be out of the coaching staff. But even, you know what? Honestly, maybe even that. Maybe all these guys need to be challenged a little bit more. Maybe there's some level of comfort.
Well, I was just going to say, maybe you get a little uncomfortable. That's what I told my employee. I said, sometimes you get to be a little uncomfortable. And a lot of people don't want change, right? So even for us, like, we were kind of like, we're going to go with Tibbs another year because we don't want change. Same thing happened when KP left. Same thing happened when Randall and DiVincenzo left. You're like, oh, shucks, we're changing the team. But maybe this is the change that we needed. Obviously, these guys have studied and they definitely have their little candidate list of who they want to be.
It might be soon. It might be much sooner than quick. I don't think it's going to be some long
I think
search.
Today is Tuesday. I think that